September is a weird month. Sometimes it's just tricky. Everyone starts posting pumpkin spice lattes and cozy sweater pictures. And here I am in Nebraska, just wondering whether it's going to be 60 or 90 today. Is humidity going to be 30% or 180%? Which, yes, I know people will say that's not mathematically possible. You don't live in Nebraska. And if you do, you know what I'm talking about. It is possible here. But September isn't just kind of a start of fall. It's also the mark of another year without my mom. As I'm filming this, it is September 21st. My mom passed away 22 years ago on September 19th. And so I've been thinking about her a lot. A lot. Talking with my therapist about her a lot recently. And as anyone who, has lost someone knows, the mourning, it doesn't end. It doesn't stop. There's not a finish line. It's just this series of nows. And we just keep living them. You keep carrying it. So currently it is somewhat coolish as a weekend goes. Or at least as close as we get around here. And I am spending some time with this book, which is a very well-used, well-loved copy of recipes that I asked my mom to put together for me the last Christmas we had with her, which I didn't know that at the time. So fortuitous timing. And we're going to make my mom's chili because in the olfactory audit of my childhood, there are two food smells that you knew it was going to be good. And one was this, my mom's chili. The other was the smell of my dad's fries. Both of those just, I will never be able to recreate it fully, right? Because you just can't. Everything's better in nostalgia. But I do love trying. Makes you feel closer. So I'm making my mom's chili today, and it's not fancy. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it is hers, which, by genetics and just family lineage makes it mine too. And because this is BookTube and I know my lane, despite what it seems, I'm not just cooking. I'm going to also talk about some of my favorite writing about food. Not cookbooks, not Pinterest hacks, not TikTok hacks, but books that really understand food as memory, as culture, as grief, but also as survival. I'm Nick. This is DrCrankyPantsReads, and today, while this chili is simmering, we're going to stir through some of the best food writing I know. The kind that reminds us food isn't just fuel. It's story. It's memory. It's what feeds us long after the leftovers are put away and the dishes are in the dishwasher. Let's talk about ingredients. Recipe in the description. So first things first, we need 2 pounds of ground beef. Or lies, not 2 pounds of ground beef. This is actually ground chuck. The fat and makes the flavor better. At least that's what I was always told. She could have been lying to me. I haven't tried it with many other things. You need a green pepper. Mine's getting a little grody, but you only need half of it. And the bottom half, still good until we open up, until we like get in there and do some surgery. So it could be a little tricky. Whole onion, large. I like to use a yellow onion. It just adds a nice flavor to it. Then we need, celery. I'm going to use this whole stalk, or not whole stalk. I'm going to use 4 stalks of celery. And then I'm making another soup later in the week. So I'll chop enough for that as well. And then freeze whatever left over. Because wouldn't it be nice to buy I don't know, I need 4 stalks of celery. I don't know who uses all of the celery. Also, my celery didn't come up in my garden, which is sad. We need 60 ounces approximately of tomato sauce. So these are 29 ounces. So I'm a little short, but that's okay. I'm going to make up for that liquid in other ways. After that, we're going into diced tomatoes. And here you need about 56 ounces. So I've got these 14.5 ounces. This is one of the ways I'm going to make up for the lack of full in the sauce. Just diced tomatoes. If you want it to be a little extra spicy, you can get the ones with the chilies in it. You need 15 ounces of V8 juice. I don't love V8 juice as a general rule of thumb, so I buy the 8-pack of mini cans and use 3 of them and then store them because I normally make this a couple of times in the winter, in the fall. Additionally, you're going to need dark red kidney beans. I've got 3 cans because I can't find them dry right now. You're also going to need a cup of ketchup. And this is what she literally says is the trick. That's what she literally says is the trick. So taco seasoning is the trick. If you are watching your salt, get the sodium free. It is fine. It's fine. I'm going to get my veggies prepped, actually, is how I'm going to do that. So, yeah, that's where we're going to start. Let's prep some veggies, and then I'm going to open up some cans. Super fun. So many cans. So many cans. You know that question, the what's your desert island book kind of question. And mine might actually be How to Cook a Wolf by M.F.K. Fisher. And this book sounds a little unhinged, right? But listen, because Fisher wrote this book in 1942 in the middle of World War II. Think about it. Rationing, fear, shortages. And instead of despairing, she said, fine, cook the damn wolf. So it's technically a guide to cooking through scarcity, how to stretch butter, how to make do. But really, it's about defiance. She's saying, even when the world feels impossible, you still deserve pleasure. You still deserve to eat well, and you can make something beautiful out of scraps. Her tone is sharp, witty, a little cranky, and basically, I think that makes her my patron saint, because reading Fisher is going to make you want to square your shoulders, stare down your pantry, and say, I've got half an onion and a bad attitude. Let's go. Fisher is all about joy as resistance. That's what she's teaching. Making soup when you could give up is really its own rebellion. And really, who doesn't need a little rebellion right now? And honestly, if you can make it smell amazingly good in your kitchen during an existential crisis, you're doing just fine. Why? I shouldn't have done that. Gah, golly, onions, why? Why do you hate me so? So, if Fisher is teaching us survival, Laurie Colwin teaches us comfort. Her book, Home Cooking, feels like having a slightly chaotic best friend in your kitchen. She's going to burn things. She's going to laugh hysterically about it. And she's going to serve it anyway. Now, the thing here is that Colwin writes with such warmth and self-depreciation. It's absolutely magnetic. She's not trying to impress you. She's literally just trying to feed you. And herself. She'll tell you about a disastrous souffle and then admit she ate the whole thing because it was Tuesday and she was hungry. And that is her charm. Reading Home Cooking gives you permission to stop performing, stop chasing perfection, to love the mess. Her essays are full of little domestic disasters that somehow turn tender, and you can practically smell the sauce bubbling over while she talks about love or loneliness or her tiny New York kitchen. Every time I open this book, I feel a little less pressure to do it right and feel grateful for whatever imperfect meal I manage to pull off. Because if you think food writing is all foie gras and pretension, start here. Colwin will cure that in 3 pages flat. And honestly, this was great bedtime reading. It reads like the funniest memoir possible, just involving a lot of food. Now, if Fisher is defiance and Colwin is comfort, then Tamar Adler is reflection. This is an everlasting meal, and it might be the calmest book I've ever read. She writes like she's meditating with a wooden spoon. Just like the others, it's not a cookbook. It's really a philosophy because she believes that cooking isn't about stress or scarcity. It's about continuity. Yesterday's beans become today's soup. Leftover rice becomes something new. Nothing wasted. Not even effort. Reading Adler slows you down. Her sentences make you breathe differently, and she makes you think that maybe, just maybe, the world isn't falling apart as long as something's simmering on the stove. What she's really writing about is attention, paying attention to what you have and finding enoughness in it. And that word, enoughness, I've been thinking about that a lot. If you pick this one up, don't rush it. Read a chapter, make dinner, come back later. The heck? Why? Why aren't you coming? Come on. Let's go upstairs with Dwight Garner's The Upstairs Delicatessen, because this one is pure mischief. It's really what happens when a lifelong book critic gets hungry. He writes about reading and eating like they're the same vice, consumption with consequences. And he is really curmudgeonly in all of the right ways, complains about bad restaurant bread, quotes Baldwin, and still somehow manages to make you laugh. This book is part memoir, part literary criticism, part diner gossip. Basically, the dinner party I wish I was invited to. Garner connects what we eat to what we read and how both shape who we are. It's a book for people who dog-ear margins and grocery receipts with equal devotion. If you think food writing is too soft, too sentimental, read Garner. He writes like your favorite English professor after 2 martinis, ranting about the metaphor of mayonnaise. You'll come out of it with a reading list, for sure, and a grocery list, which honestly feels about right. I sometimes forget how this induction thing works. I had it on low this entire time. Oh, the vegetables are somewhat soft, and so now we're just adding cans in. We're just adding cans in. There's no particular order. Finally, let's talk about Ruth Reichl's Save Me the Plums. If all the others are about everyday life, this one's about food as empire. Reichl went from restaurant critic to editor-in-chief of Gourmet magazine, basically the Vatican of food media in the late 90s and early 2000s. This book is equal parts fairy tale and corporate horror story. There are $500 truffle dinners and designer kitchens, but she still makes you crave toast with butter. And what's so sharp about Plums is how honest it is. She writes about ambition and burnout, luxury and loneliness, and what it costs to turn your passion into your paycheck. And by the end, you realize it's not a book about a magazine. It's about coming home to your own taste again. If you've ever loved a job until it loved you back too hard, you'll feel this one in your bones. And like any good meal, it ends with the reminder that what matters most isn't how impressive it looks, it's who you share it with. So this has been simmering for about 2.5 hours. The other thing I forgot to mention is that before the last like half hour, I did add a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper, but that's pretty much just because of my own my own preferences. Next day. So let's talk about how to eat this chili. I reheated it today on the stove. I don't have a microwave. Is that weird? But on the stove, I just brought it to a boil, let it simmer for a while, and now we're good to go. I got a little sprinkling of cheese here because I love it. It was never a thing when I was growing up, so it's like my own special thing that I bring to it because cheese is delicious. Not too much because I'm trying to keep my doctor happy. And then you need a glass of milk. I am not a big milk drinker. I'm just not. But with chili, I have to have milk. I have to. I also have to have saltines. And growing up, we were a Zesta family. I actually really like these. These are Global Brands, which is the off-brand at my local little store around the corner. And that's not delightful. In my family, when we were young, this is how we ate our chili at home. There was my family up through like really up through when we fell apart as a family. We pretty much ate dinner together every night. Which was, now that I look back at it, really a remarkable thing because my dad worked midnights. So the fact that he would wake up, eat dinner with us, take another cat nap, and then go to work. I don't know that I always appreciated that as much as I should have. But, I mean, just seeing this right now, smelling this right now, just brings me back there. And so thankful for the work that both my parents did at that point in time. So that's 5 books and 1 pot of chili. Fisher gives you defiance, Colwin gives you comfort, Adler gives you peace, Garner gives you play, and Reichl gives you reflection. Together, they make a meal. Sharp, messy, human and satisfying. Now, my mom's chili will never win awards, but it's proof of what they all write about. That food is story, and story is what keeps us fed. I appreciate you, and I hope life is good. See you in the next one.